Let me show you how to mount your Trash Panda Trail Pack onto your spare tire. I have all the parts that we need in front of me here, and obviously in the studio I have one already mounted on our spare tire. It looks like a lot, but once you see how everything goes on, it's not that bad at all, and some of the steps you only have to do one time. The mount starts with our Step 22 spare tire mount, which uses a 2-inch ratchet strap, and our mounting blocks and web loops for the tension strap. So let's go look at this 2-inch ratchet. This is a heavy-duty 2-inch ratchet. Remember, you got two locks, so you've got the main release on the outside, and then you've got one inside here also that you're gonna have to work with those. Also, let me talk about the mandrel here. When you use this ratchet, as you ratchet it, the mandrel, this round part here, is what you're gonna see spin. In order to get the proper strength out of this strap and ratchet, you want to get at least 2 full turns on the mandrel. So as you start to ratchet this and torque it down later in the process, just try to keep track of how many times you see that spin, and you want to go at least 2 up to 4, so 2 to 4 spins on that mandrel. Now I think the easiest way to load everything onto the ratchet web strap is to just stand behind your spare tire, and then on the ground or on a table if you have one, is to lay out the strap and lay out whatever you need to put onto that web strap. For our tire mount, that's going to include the mounting blocks and the tension strap web loops. If you have more things that you want to also attach onto this 2-inch web, now's the time to do that. Because we're in the studio, I'm going to set the actual ratchet off to the side, and we'll just pretend that this piece of web here is coming off that. Another important pro tip is the flat side here, which will face the tire. As I put everything onto the strap, I want to make sure that the direction of everything I slide on faces the right direction. So for the Step 22 mounting blocks, the teeth face the tread. The flat side of the ratchet will face the tread, so we're going to make sure that those are the right way. If I put these on upside down and I go to mount this, I'm going to have to take it off again and turn these over, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so in this case, I have the ratchet. You can't see it, but it's down low underneath here. On my rig, that's where the ratchet goes. For you, the ratchet may be on the right side or the left side or wherever it is, but here it's down low. So starting in the lower right corner is going to be a web loop for the tension strap. So I'm going to feed that on first. Then coming up the side, now in this case, you see I have another block mounted. If you wanted to mount something, we have the Javan. For example, you may want to put one of our bags on the side there, or you may have your own parts that you want to put on here. In this case, we're just going to pretend that block's not there. We're only going to mount what we need for the Trash Panda. So lower right, we got that web loop for the tension strap. Top right is one of our mount blocks, so I'll feed that through. Coming up over the top to the top left side is the same style mount block. So I'll feed that through like so. And then coming down to the lower left side would be the last web loop for the tension strap. That would go on there as well. So once you've got that step done, you can go ahead and take your ratchet and place it wherever it needs to be, run everything around, and feed the web loop into the ratchet. Start to ratchet down, but don't torque it tight. You want to leave it loose, just a little bit snug. What that will let you do is slide your mounting blocks and your web loops to the right spot, and you'll see shortly what that is. So again, don't ratchet down tight, just leave it loose at this point and put these roughly in the position where you think that they may want to be. Now here in the studio, to make it easier to show you, I've also got a back panel from a Trash Panda. So this back panel is the same thing that you see on the bag here. And the next thing that we need to do is use the 2 hanging straps. So that's the one with the hook that comes down. Okay, so we've got 2 of those, and then we've got 2 pieces of hardware that are the tri-glides. So looking at the back panel of the Trash Panda, we've got those mounting slots over here on the left side. We've got 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3 on the right side. I like to start with the one in the middle. The reason that there are 3 here, depending on the height that you want your Trash Panda to be at, you may use the top slot or the lower slot. I find that the slot in the middle is a good point to start. So with the hook facing up and out, I'm going to go into the back side of the Trash Panda through that middle slot, and pull that through. Now this is super important, the routing of the mount strap, the web, into that Tri-Glide hardware. So now we're inside the bag, just here. I'm gonna go from the back side of the hardware into the lower slot. And then I'm gonna take the web from the front and just loop it directly right up into the top slot and pull that through like so. Now I know for this case, I'm gonna wanna pull a little bit more web through. And for now, I'm just gonna leave that like so. I'm not gonna do the last step yet because I may want to adjust the height. So I've done that on the left side. I'm gonna wanna match that on the right side. I'm gonna wanna pull the web through about the same length. That way, when you mount your Trash Panda, it's level. Now, what I wanna show you here, and this is the important part for not ratcheting down that strap tight yet, because you may wanna move the blocks. When you mount the Trash Panda, you want the mounting straps to be directly in line with that slot that they're mounted through. So now we're looking at the back side, and just as an example, I'm going to show you what I mean by in line, and I'll just kind of do extreme cases here. When you go to mount the Trash Panda, in line, the web, the tension on that slot is smooth all the way across, right? You don't see it pulling right or pulling left. I'll show you extreme cases here. So here's an extreme case, pulling to the side or pulling to this side. That's what you don't want. You want that web pulling nice and straight. So you can do kind of a rough mock-up now, is take your Trash Panda, line up the hooks with the rings on the mounting blocks, and as you hold those mounting straps straight, you'll know that your mounting blocks need to move. They may need to move down, may need to move up. Their position will be about the same height. So if you're, the one on the right is about this position, the one on the left is gonna match that height. So go ahead and do that. Once that's done, you can even push the hooks through. That's gonna show you really what the height of your Trash Panda will be. Now's your chance to adjust the height. So if you're doing minor adjustments, you can leave it in the same slot. You can just pull more web through or push web back out to lower it down. If you need adjustments that are more extreme, you may need to change the slot that you're passing that web through, but now's the time to do that. Once you do that and you get everything set, the last step is gonna be to lock that web into the Tri-Glide. And to do that, you're gonna now take your web, which currently is facing up, and bring it down and feed it through the lower slot from the front. So you're gonna bring it right back down, feed that through, pull it through, and pull it tight. Once you pull that tight, then that goes tight against the Trash Panda, and that's locked. Now your bag will not sag at all. Once the height is set, you're done. Okay, so now you've got your Trash Panda mounted. It's kind of hanging on that ratchet strap, which still is not torqued all the way yet. The last step is the tension strap. Now I've got the tension strap mounted on this one already. You can see that cam buckle on the inside. And what that does is that holds your Trash Panda down and against the tire so that it's gonna stay put. The roller cam, so this buckle here, in this case, you can see I have it inside the bag, and you can mount yours that way, that's fine. Depending on what you think you may store in your Trash Panda, you may not want the cam buckle on the inside, you may want the roller cam outside of the bag on the right or on the left, whatever works for you. But again, in this case, I'm showing you how to mount it, so I put it inside here so you guys can see it. Another thing that's important to note, near the hinge of the back panel and the floor, there are a few drain holes on either side. You don't want to mount this web through the drain holes. There are holes in the back panel. Here's one on the left and here's one on the right. You can see these are the holes that you want to use for the tension strap. So in this case, I'm going to take that 1-inch web, and if I wanted the cam to be inside the bag, I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to feed the end of this through. Now you're going to find your 2 protective sheaths. So you've got 2 strips of protective sheath. Those are intended to go on top of the 1-inch web through that hole. So over time, you're going to get some protection on that web strap as it passes through the hole. Now, I've done that already in here. In that hole, and that web loop with the ring on it that we've mounted on the lower right side, the next step is going to be to take that web, go to the front side, the outside of that, that ring, and get that web so it's not all tangled, right? I'm going to go through that web down there. And then from here, that strap is going to go on the back side of the Trash Panda. Okay, so you're not feeding that web back in, you're putting it behind the entire bag. If that web has slack in it, it can droop down and get caught on your tire down low. So you want to make sure you're not caught down on the tire, raise it up. It should be going across the bag behind it in line with those two holes. Okay, so now this is coming down to the left side. You have that same ring that we went through on the right side. We're going to go through on the left. Going to go from behind it to the front. And then when we come through the front, that will allow us to come back into the Trash Panda, into that lower left hole. I'm going to take that protective sheath and feed that onto that 1-inch web. Get that feed through there. And then the last step is to take that and feed it into your roller cam. So I'm going to go into the roller cam buckle there, and then back out, and then pull that tight. Now the last step you need to do before you tension the 2-inch ratchet down is to check the height of those, the two web loops with the rings on them. You want them to be just a little bit lower than the holes in the backside of your Trash Panda. You don't want the web to come out and be pulling down very low or very high. You want it to just be a little bit lower so that the web strap comes out and goes a little bit down. And then you want to put some tension on that there. Once you've got everything set, now is the time to tension down that ratchet strap. Remember, 2 to 4 full turns on the mandrel to make sure you're getting the full strength of that web strap and that hardware. Get that torque down. Then you can come back inside once everything on the outside's tight and torque that down a bit. This tension strap, you don't need to go crazy, right? It does need to be snug, it does need to be tight, but it's not something that you really need to wrench on, okay? Once you get a little bit of tension on it, you'll feel that that bag stays put. Your tail on this might be very long. You can leave it, you can just leave it inside the bag here. Even if the cam is on the outside, you can feed the tail through that hole inside the bag to store it there. If you do want to cut that and use a lighter to hot knife it, just keep in mind that that roller cam, the slot that the end goes through, is pretty tight. So you want to make sure that that end is flat. So if you do cut it and hot knife it, you may want to use whatever it is you have that you can kind of, after you heat it, smash it down so that it's not too thick so that it can go through that roller cam easily. If you don't want to burn it, again, you can just leave that strap inside like so. So last step, just check, make sure everything's nice and tight. Make sure that your straps here, the lengths of these should match each other. That's going to tell you that your Trash Panda will be hanging level. Check that your hooks are on. Check that your rings are nice and tight. Everything's good. Check your torque again on that ratchet. You're going to want to check that ratchet shortly after you install. The style of ratchet strap that we have, that web really doesn't have much stretch, but it may stretch just a little bit. So later that day or the next day, give that ratchet a little tug. You might be able to get one more click out of it. You might not, but just check it because you always want to make sure that that's nice and tight. So that's it. Now when you want to take your Trash Panda off, all you have to do is remove the tension strap down below. Now you can raise it up and unhook and take it off. It does have the carry handle on there, so if you wanted to go from the driveway to the house or wherever you are, you can use that handle. You can leave the tire mount in place. So those are the mounting blocks. Or you can remove it, that's up to you. But you don't need to take it off. That way the next time you want to install your Trash Panda, that's already there, it's already in place. Check the ratchet, make sure it's still tight. Grab your Trash Panda, put those hooks on, route the tension strap, and you're ready to go. So that's it for mounting your Trash Panda. If you've got any questions, let us know.